pray for us sinners now and at the hour of death. Amen.
Behold the handmaid of the Lord.
Be it done to me according to your word.
Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus.
Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and at the hour of death. Amen.
And the Word was made flesh,
and dwelt amongst us.
Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus.
Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and at the hour of death. Amen.
Pray for us, O Holy Mother of God,
that we may be made worthy of the promises of Christ. Pour forth, we beseech you, O Lord, your grace into our hearts, that we, to whom the incarnation of Christ, your Son, was made known by the message of an angel, may by his passion and cross be brought to the glory of his resurrection, through the same Christ our Lord. Amen.
Merry Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We wish you a Merry Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Gikan sa tagdumala o magkawani sa Radio Philippines Network Incorporated, RPN DXKS Radio Ronda. Malipayong Pasko o mabungahong bagong tuig kaninyong tanan.
Good evening, I'm Pia Ontiveros. Welcome to News Night, where we go above and beyond the headlines. Tonight on the program, with no Omicron variant yet in the country, things are looking good. The health department says the whole nation is now at minimal risk for COVID-19. The opposition presidential bet seeks the support of a popular city in the so-called Solid North, while another hopeful wants to include President Duterte in his Senate slate. After a successful concert series in the United States, BTS will not hold any events for armies in the coming months. The group's agency says the K-pop boys will first get their much-needed rest. The COVID-19 situation in the country is getting better by the day, at least for now. The health department says the country is now under minimal risk case classification. The agency explains the average daily attack rate from November 22 to December 5 is now below 1, which means the country can be downgraded from low risk to minimal risk. 13 of the 17 regions are under the same classification. Only Metro Manila, the Cordilleras, Cagayan Valley, and the Zamboanga Peninsula are under low-risk case classification, which is one step higher than minimal risk status.
Nationally, we remain at minimal risk case classification with a negative 2-week growth rate at negative 57% and a low-risk average daily attack rate at 0.67 cases per every 100,000 individuals. All regions have a total COVID-19 bed and ICU utilization at low risk or less than 50%.
There are 543 new COVID-19 cases today. More than 100 more people died, while 830 others survived. Active cases are at 13,500, excluding data from 5 testing laboratories, 2 that were not operational on December 4. As COVID-19 infections continue to drop, some schools in Metro Manila reopened today for limited face-to-face classes. AC Nichols reports education and local officials support the gradual expansion of the pilot program.
More students are physically back in the classrooms. This time, they include more than 2,000 public elementary and high school students from Metro Manila. 28 schools in the capital region got the go signal to begin holding limited in-person classes. Students and teachers are just happy to be reunited, though things are not what they used to be.
Tulad po ng mga groupings, yun, di na po namin magagawa ngayon yun. So talagang pinag-iisipan po ng mga teacher kung ano yung makakabuti sa kanila, na safe po sila sa pag-aaral nila.
Basic health protocols are strictly implemented, from temperature checks to hand disinfection. But it's not always easy to follow rules, especially among the younger kids.
Yung mga bata na hindi talaga sanay mag-face mask, no? Especially the young learners. So maya't maya, inuubad nila yung face mask nila, no? Hindi maiwasan na nagdidikit-dikit sila. So all of these are part of the pilot study, no? So anong kailangan adjustment para maiwasan ito?
There were absences as well. At Pedro Cruz Elementary School in San Juan, over 80 students were supposed to come in, but only 62 showed up.
Mamaya po ay aalamin natin sa pamamagitan ng mga advisors kung ano yung mga naging dahilan ng mga bata na ito kung bakit hindi sila nakarating.
Still, education officials believe the pilot run for face-to-face classes has been a success so far. No COVID-19 cases have been reported among participating schools, and local officials support the gradual expansion of the pilot program.
Pag nasa mga bahay sila, tapos minsan pupunta pang mall, makikipaglaro sa kapitbahay, hindi naman natin makokontrol yun ng 100% eh. Lalo na sa mga lugar na maliliit talaga ang bahay. Hindi man pwede nakakulong lang yung bata. 10 square meters na bahay, 3 yung bata. Expect mo ba talaga na hindi lalabas yan for 2 years?
Currently, there are around 300 public and private basic education schools holding limited in-person classes. The DepEd wants to continue expanding the list of schools reopening, hoping that the new Omicron variant will not cause a change of plan.
But for now, wala pa naman tayong advisory, no? Coming from the health experts from the Department of Health regarding the Omicron.
AC Nichols, CNN Philippines.
There is at least one school from every area in Metro Manila except Pateros that has reopened for the pilot program. But the COVID-19 situation in the region's low municipality looks promising. In its tally on Saturday, December 4, the local government said it did not record any new COVID-19 infection. There is also no active case in Pateros. In a text message to CNN Philippines, Mayor Ike Ponce says the municipality remains COVID-free even until today. A research group believes the new COVID-19 variant of concern, Omicron, is twice as infectious as the Delta variant. Octo research fellow Guido David says he calculated the virus reproduction number of South Africa, which is seeing a surge in cases because of Omicron. David says the reproduction number is now at 4 compared to less than 2 in previous spikes caused by Delta. The expert says this strongly indicates that Omicron is highly transmissible and that a person is carrying it is likely to infect 10 to 16 people. Meantime, the health department says studies looking into Omicron are ongoing, but it may take weeks before its characteristics are known. The agency calls on local governments to ramp up testing, stressing its importance in detecting the new variant.
We cannot do our surveillance if testing is not being done. So for the past weeks, napapansin natin na bumababa ang mga testing outputs, especially coming from our collecting sites, no? Ang mga local governments, ang mga epidemiology and surveillance units natin. Kailangan mai-improve ho natin para makita natin kung sino talaga yung may sakit. Lalong-lalo na ngayon na mababa na yung kaso, lalong-lalo na ngayon na may threat tayo ng Omicron variant, we cannot 100% control prevent the entry of these variants. Ang ginagawa natin, we buy time when we prepare our system at gumawa tayo ng mga ganitong efforts. Sa ngayon, stricter border controls, biosurveillance.
Omicron has not been detected in 629 samples checked by the Genome Center. Samples from a COVID-positive traveler from South Africa and 11 returning overseas Filipinos, meanwhile, are undergoing sequencing. Results are expected on Wednesday. Now, the Omicron variant has prompted the United States to change measures for incoming travelers as it detects cases in more than a dozen states. CNN's Cole Higgins explains the new rules taking effect today.
Omicron is in the U.S. with cases of the coronavirus variant identified in at least 17 states.
And we're following them closely, and we are every day hearing about more and more probable cases, so that number is likely to rise.
Prompting U.S. officials to once again tighten air travel regulations. All inbound international travelers must test negative for COVID-19 within 1 day of departure for the U.S. starting Monday. The new order taking hold for all flights taking off off after 12:01 a.m. Eastern Time. The new rule applies to all passengers 2 years or older, but there's no requirement for post-arrival testing or quarantine. The U.S. still restricting entry to travelers from South Africa and 7 other African nations. President Biden's chief medical advisor, Dr. Anthony Fauci, says the U.S. was in the dark about Omicron when that decision was made. Some South Africans say the travel ban is unfair.
We don't think it's fair because the way in which it's been imposed is quite uneven, and a lot of the responses in the last few days really just smacks of a very knee-jerk way of dealing with this pandemic. It goes against the solidarity that was promised to us at the beginning of this pandemic.
Fauci says the administration hopes to be able to lift the ban within a, quote, reasonable period of time.
I mean, we all feel very badly about the hardship that might have put upon not only South Africa, but the other African countries. And for that reason, in real time, literally on a daily basis, we're reevaluating that policy.
I'm Cole Higgins reporting.
Let's take a look at other global headlines. In Indonesia, at least 15 people are dead and dozens still missing after Mount Semeru erupted on Saturday. The volcano is located in Indonesia's East Java province. Hundreds of homes destroyed, displacing more than 1,000 people. Search and rescue efforts are ongoing, but one of the operation areas were affected after a river dam burst because of cold lava and heavy rain. In Myanmar, a court sentences deposed civilian leader Aung San Suu Kyi to 4 years in prison for incitement and breaking health protocols. Suu Kyi is facing almost a dozen charges, adding up to combined maximum sentences of over 100 years, but she rejected all allegations. The verdict comes a day after military forces cracked down on a protest in Yangon, prompting condemnations from the U.S. and the United Nations. Suu Kyi was ousted and detained by the military in a coup in February. Coming up on Newsnight, authorities looked into an ambush in Zamboanga City that killed a Basilan mayor and wounded another. And 2022 aspirants continue to make the rounds ahead of the polls. Find out where they try to court voters and what their latest campaign promises are. Next.
As Consul of Belarus, my main responsibility was to see to it that the citizens that were in the Philippines were able to get back to their country. With my busy schedule, I discovered MX3 is a big factor in improving our health, and I've been taking it for more than 7 years already. I'm Annette Ablan, the Honorary Consul of the Republic of Belarus to the Philippines.
Mahalagang paalala, ang MX3 capsule ay hindi gamot at hindi dapat gamitin pang gamot sa anumang uri ng sakit.
Love is all about time. Di minamadali ang pagpapasarap. Like the love in every Pure Foods ready to eat. Slow cooked and ready in 8 minutes. Para may time ka sa mga mahal mo. Because love takes time.
Sa pagbangon ng mga Pilipino, saludo ako sa mga taong patuloy na humaharap sa hamon ng pagbabago.
Bilang isang ina, handa akong gawin ang lahat para sa kaligtasan ng aking mga anak.
Bandun naman, tuloy pa rin ang serbisyo para malinis ang kapaligiran.
Serbisyong publiko para sa kaligtasan ng lahat.
Sa panahon ng krisis, ikaw, ako, magtulungan tayo. Saludo ako sa Pilipino.
Totoo bang TJ also makes the cheesy yes? Exhibit X, my cheese. Exhibit TJ, cheesy yes. Totoo nga! Walang duda, kids can tell na ang cheesy yes ng #1, Denver Juicy Cheese Dog. But TJ Cheese Dog ka naman! For my babies, only vet-approved Nutri-Chunks puppies. The only one with active boost and prebiotics na Pampalisto. Made with real meat with essential nutrients to help them grow strong and healthy. Happiness! Listo, ganado sa Nutri-Chunks puppies.
Looking for faster travel time around Metro Manila?
The Skyway Stage 3 project has got you covered, taking the 17.93-kilometer, 6-lane elevated expressway cuts the usual 2-hour travel time from Buendia in Makati to Balintawak in Quezon City to just 15 to 20 minutes. As the longest elevated expressway in the country, it is helping decongest major thoroughfares, including EDSA. Skyway Stage 3 also links motorists coming from the South Luzon Expressway, or SLEX, to the North Luzon Expressway, or NLEX. It is also set to create new transport routes for buses and UV Express vans, so commuters will no longer only have to rely on the MRT and the LRT. In an industry first, Skyway Stage 3 also features double-decker stations that will provide enough space for vehicles in the densest parts of the metro. The project is also seen to enhance the economic interaction of Calabarzon, Mega Manila, and Central Luzon that contribute to over 60% of the country's GDP. Skyway Stage 3, an engineering marvel, built by Filipinos, for Filipinos.
May pagbabago man sa dekorasyon, sa pangangaroling, at sa simoy ng selebrasyon. Ang maiiwan na damang-dama ay sarap ng Pasko na buong-buo. Sarap na hatid ng Pure Foods Noche Buena. Sarap na dala ng pamilyang bumubuo sa Pasko. Buo ang Pasko sa Paskong Pure Foods.
Welcome back to Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines. A bloody December morning in Zamboanga City. 2 Basilan mayors were shot by 4 gunmen as they disembarked at the city's seaport. Albarca Mayor Darussalam Sagindilan Dahid and his driver died. Akbar Mayor Ali Awal Sali survived the ambush. An investigation is underway. Police say the suspects fled the scene aboard a white car and a motorized boat. National Police Chief General Jonard Carlos directed the PNP Area Commander for Western Mindanao to coordinate pursuit operations against the suspects. With Senator Bongo yet to formalize his withdrawal from the presidential race, election officials are expressing alarm over a crowd swarming outside the COMELEC headquarters. Go supporters have been gathering across Palacio del Gobernador in Intramuros since last week, hoping that the senator will still change his mind. COMELEC spokesman James Jimenez says Go has any time until before the proclamation of winners next year to officially withdraw from the race.
The prolonged uncertainty of whether a person is running or not is not conducive to orderly elections. Just so that you can get your crowds, just so that you can get your photo ops, you are endangering the lives of Filipinos who believe in you.
In a statement, Senator Go urged his supporters to stop crowding outside the COMELEC headquarters. He also appealed for respect and understanding for his decision. In 2016, Vice President Leni Robredo failed to win a single province in the so-called Solid North, dominated by her fiercest rival, Bongbong Marcos. But Robredo will attempt to change that in the 2022 presidential race as she visits the city of Baguio. Our senior correspondent, Anjo Alimario, reports.
The cold did not bother presidential aspirant Vice President Leni Robredo, who showed up early at Baguio City Hall. Mayor Benjamin Magalong welcomed Robredo, whom she worked with closely before, when she was still with PNP and she was still part of Bicol Advisory Group. Magalong says he and Robredo are completely aligned. They believe that good governance goes beyond politics. So is he endorsing a presidential aspirant?
I have. Sinabihan ko na rin naman siya. Nag-usap naman kami, yes. Hindi ko na babanggitin.
In Baguio and all the provinces in the northern region, Robredo faces an uphill battle in the May 2022 presidential elections. The so-called Solid North made its presence felt by giving Bongbong Marcos, the son of a late dictator, a landslide win against Robredo in 2016. But this doesn't discourage her at all.
If the volunteers will be able to sustain this kind of movement, malaki yung pagkakataon na makaabot yung mensahe sa mga kababayan natin.
Manila Mayor Isko Moreno meanwhile is in Cebu meeting also with local officials of the province. He lauded the province's Cebu Negosyo, which is designed to uplift the tourism industry amid the pandemic. But what highlighted the trip was his announcement of planning to adopt his party's 4th senatorial candidate.
Si President Duterte, hindi natin pwedeng tawaran yung kanyang kakayanan. He is a qualified candidate for the Senate.
Pero yung choices naman natin lahat, laging reflection siya ng aspirations natin. Lagi siyang reflection ng values na pinapaniwalaan natin.
Senator Panfilo Lacson meanwhile bared what he claims to be the ultimate test of characters for a leader. He stressed the need for the next president to uphold integrity as he recalled his time as then chief of the country's anti-kidnapping task force.
Isang na-kidnap noon, pagkatapos naming ma-rescue, bumalik, may dalang bag. Sabi ko, ano yan, chairman? Hindi, ito yung dahil natulungan niyo si Mr. Sibal, tumataw na ng utang loob. Sabi ko, no. Lagi nga sagot ko, we only did our duty.
Marcos meantime talked to the leaders of agriculture sector. He said he favors suspending the rice tarification law to help farmers.
Yung rice tarification law, kung babasahin mo yung batas, mukhang tama naman. Pero ang naging effect sa katotohanan is yun ang unintended consequences. Nagkaroon ng nasabayan pa tayo ng pandemic.
Leone de Guzman meanwhile is in Eastern Samar. He put spotlight on the effects of large-scale mining to the environment and livelihood of communities. He said he will advance a, quote, just transition to green economy, unquote, as an alternative to mining and logging. In Baguio City, Anjali Marios, CNN Philippines.
Two party list groups protested outside the COMELEC headquarters after the poll body rejected their 2022 bids with finality. Members of the Nurses United Party list took turns throwing tomatoes and a copy of the COMELEC logo to show their frustration. The group's president, Maristela Benojar, says the poll body has yet to give a formal explanation as to why they were denied a chance to vie for a seat in Congress.
Ang sinabi po ng COMELEC doon sa kanilang resolution noong October 1 ay hindi raw po namin sapat na patunayan na ang aming mga officers at members ng Nurses United Party List ay mga nurses. Pinatay po nila yung pag-asa ng mga nurses at mga manggagawang pangkalusugan. Pag-asa na magkaroon ng tunay na representante ng mga manggagawang pangkalusugan sa loob ng Kongreso.
There is a very specific requirement that you must show that your members are, at least a majority of your members are part of that sector that you're representing. I have faith in the resolution of the division. And if the division says it wasn't proven, then it wasn't proven.
A multi-sectoral group, Guardians, also protested against the denial of their accreditation. The COMELEC said they failed to prove that they have members who are farmers, urban poor, and laborers. The two groups are among 107 organizations rejected by the poll body, while 152 will land a spot on the ballot. Meanwhile, 13 groups still have pending status with the COMELEC. They include Mocha Uson's Mother for Change, former MMDA spokesman Celine Pialagos' Malasakit Movement, and Chef Boy Logro's Logro Cusinero. Food manufacturers want the suggested retail prices of basic goods adjusted to help them recover financial losses from the pandemic, but the Trade Department says the business sector's wish cannot be granted so easily. CNR Kangel has that story.
Analita Verdin has to make frequent trips to the grocery store to buy goods so she can stretch her budget. She finds the suggested retail prices useful.
Nakakatulong po talaga yun. Kasi kagaya sa amin na mahirap, kailangan po namin ng mas mababang presyo po sana kasi napakahirap pong kumita ngayon ng kabuhayan.
But food manufacturers say it's time for the SRPs to be reviewed. They claim it's been 2 years since they were last adjusted. The Philippine Chamber of Food Manufacturers Incorporated wants the Trade Department to adjust the SRPs to reflect higher consumer demand. Manufacturers say they also need to recover losses they suffered because of the pandemic. But Trade Secretary Ramon Lopez says consumer demand isn't the only consideration in adjusting SRPs. He says the impact on consumers should also be factored in reviewing SRPs of basic goods. Lopez adds the food industry is starting to recover. It's one of the few sectors allowed to operate despite the lockdowns imposed since last year. For Stephen Kua, president of the Philippine Amalgamated Supermarkets Association, it would be better to let consumers decide which items to buy instead of posting SRPs.
Kapag mahal ang santidahan, competition will keep us in check. Pag mahal ang santidahan, alis yung customer, bibili sa kabila, di ba? So we cannot price ourselves, out of the market.
Supermarket operators are also asking the government to avoid flip-flopping on pandemic response guidelines so businesses can have a clear direction in planning their operations. Cian Arcangel, CNN, Philippines.
Still ahead on Newsnight, K-pop sensation BTS is set to take a break this holiday season, but fans will still have something to look forward to while the group is gone. And a classic Christmas song rakes in 1 billion worldwide streams on Spotify. Stay tuned to CNN Philippines.
Enjoy the #1 pinakamasarap na Pure Foods Tender Juicy ngayong Pasko. Kasama ang sarap ng pamilya.
Ahon, bangon, sulong. Ahon, bangon, sulong.
Pangarap ng bawat Pilipino. Hangarin ng Northern Cement.
Ahon, bangon, sulong.
Pinalaki ng Northern Cement ang kapasidad ng kanilang planta para steady ang supply ng sementong tigasin. Northern Cement Max Plus, Supreme at Max Pro.
Ahon, bangon, sulong.
Hindi biro ang mga pagsubok na hinarap at patuloy na kinakaharap ng ating Pangulo. Pero dahil sa tapang at malasakit sa mga Pilipino ni Pangulong Duterte, unti-unti nating nakamit ang mga pagbabago. Mula noong 2016, marami na ang nagbago sa ating bayan. Mga pagbabagong nakikita, nararamdaman at napapakinabangan ng Pilipino. Ito ang pamana ng pagbabago.
So for my fridge decluttering, I found some good ingredients that I could work with, and I have a pretty good idea of what to do with it. We'll be making the home fridge mix, which is a grapefruit and mint kind of cocktail. For this cocktail, you'll need, and for the tools, first we're going to get our shaker, grab our mint, and our simple syrup, and then we muddle. Add your GSM Premium Gin and your grapefruit juice. Lastly, your egg white. And then we're going to close it up and start our dry shake. This basically means we're going to shake our cocktail without the ice. After about 10 seconds, open up your shaker and fill it with ice, then shake again. When your shaker is ice cold, it's time to pop it open and double strain. Garnish this with some dehydrated grapefruit and some mint. There you have it, your very own home fridge mix made with GSM Premium Gin.
Kidimiti sarap ng Pure Foods ready-to-eat spaghetti. Easy to prepare even for kids. Ngayong Pasko, kasama ang sarap ng pamilya.
This Christmas season, Robinsons Supermarket is giving you and your family more reasons to be happy with Holiday Fair 2021 promo. This promo has fresh and healthy groceries with exciting deals, perfect for the moms and dads out there who are preparing for the holidays. The promo started last November 1 and will stretch throughout the holidays until December 31, 2021. What's best about this promo is that we will be giving away up to 3 million worth of shopping sprees to 60 lucky customers. All they have to do is to purchase at least 1,500 pesos worth of Holiday Fair participating items using their Go Rewards card or app. If you want to avoid the holiday rush, don't worry. Just order your Holiday Fair groceries online at Robinsons Supermarket via Go Robinsons Delivery. You'll still be able to enjoy all the exciting deals and discounts plus free delivery if you order at least 3,500 pesos worth of groceries. We're also doing the Holiday Fair 2021 live series via Facebook. We will be giving away up to 175,000 pesos worth of cash prizes, gadgets, and gift certificates. So please join us on our remaining episodes. That's on December 4, and December 18. Enjoy this exciting holiday ride with Robinsons Supermarket. Happy holidays and safe shopping, everyone.
Welcome back to CNN Philippines. Lots to look forward to in the movies, from another team-up between Knives Out co-stars to the next animated Spider-Man film. CNN's David Daniel reports on the Hollywood Minute.
What? Ana de Armas broke out opposite Chris Evans in 2019's Knives Out. Now they're teaming up again in the romantic action-adventure Ghosted. De Armas is replacing Scarlett Johansson, who was originally set to star in the project. Marvel has given us our first look at Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, the sequel to the Oscar-winning Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. And since Marvel is billing this as Part 1, we can expect at least one more animated adventure after this film opens next October.
It was my opportunity to try things.
Speaking of Spidey, Tom Holland, the current live-action Spider-Man, is stepping into Fred Astaire's dancing shoes. Holland is set to play Astaire in a biopic about the legendary big-screen dancer, actor, and singer. Holland got his start dancing on the London stage and went viral channeling both Gene Kelly's Singin' in the Rain routine and Rihanna's Umbrella on Lip Sync Battle.
Worldwide sensation BTS is capping the year with some well-earned days off. The group's agency announced its extended period of rest for the holidays after activities in the U.S. The members will have their first Christmas with families since debuting in 2013. But fans have something to look forward to as they wait for the artist's return. Big Hit Music announced the next BTS album that will, quote, mark the beginning of a new chapter. 1 billion worldwide streams for a classic Mariah Carey Christmas song just a few weeks before the holidays, All I Want for Christmas Is You, grabbed the Spotify milestone. Mariah, dubbed the Queen of Christmas, tweeted her thanks to fans saying, quote, these numbers are incredible, but the love I have for the Lamborghini, the name for her supporters, is unquantifiable. Last week, the iconic holiday track also hit 10 million in U.S. sales. We have 19 more days before Christmas, and that is it for now. Join me again on News.ph at 7 p.m. I'm Pia Ontiveros for Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Gikan sa tagdumala o magkawani sa Radio Philippines Network Incorporated, RPN DXKS Radio Ronda. Malipayong Pasko o mabungahong bagong tuig kaninyong tanan.
If you constantly experience flushing or persistent redness on your face, you might have a skin condition called rosacea. It affects over 400 million people around the world, and most aren't even aware they have it. Rosacea often comes with acne-like breakouts and the appearance of broken blood vessels on the face. It's not contagious, but it obviously affects a person's social anxiety as well as their emotional health. The good news is, there are many things one can do to decrease the regularity and severity of the flare-ups. On the program today, we'll talk more about rosacea, including how to manage the symptoms and avoid flare-ups. I'm Dr. Freddy Gomez, and this is MedTalk Health Talk on CNN Philippines. Rosacea is a chronic inflammatory skin condition generally associated with constant blushing or persistent redness of the face. But there are many different types, and it can manifest on the skin in unique ways. Let's welcome to the show Dr. Pichi Pazlao from the Makati Medical Center, and we're also joined by Dr. Ces Rojas Rosete from the Medical City Hospital and Rizal Medical Center. Dr. Pichi, what are some of the risk factors pagdating dito sa condition ng rosacea? And do Filipinos actually have to worry about it?
They're more common in women and 30 and above.
over the age of 30 and above. Textbooks would say it's mostly seen in fair-skinned individuals and European descent. But I guess because we're a mixed race now and we have a lot of our countrymen who are very fair, so we cannot totally say that we cannot see them anymore in Filipinos because of our dark skin, because we have a lot of fair skin also in our country. Also, it's genetic. If you had the history of acne, or probably a coexisting autoimmune disease, and sometimes lately they've been kind of attaching it when you have H. pylori in your GI tract.
Now, Dr. says, since most people aren't even aware of whether or not they have this condition, what are some of the overt symptoms that rosacea may have?
There is this temporary, initially reddening of the surface of the skin of the face that can be very persistent over time. Now, aside from the redness, the patients could also develop bump-like lesions on their skin. Some can be pustules, similar to acne. There can also be visible veins on the face because of the overreactivity of the cutaneous blood vessels, so they dilate pretty fast. Now, there could also be burning sensation in some patients, and over time, if this is left untreated, there could be thickening of the surface of the skin, leading to, let's say, especially on the nose, among men, it could become enlarged and bulbous in a condition which we call as rhinophyma.
Dr. Pichi, are there specific conditions that can trigger flare-ups?
Top 3 would be sun exposure, stress, hot weather, also strong wind, heavy exercise, sauna, a lot of alcohol drinking, cold weather, spicy food is a trigger, very hot humidity, and even caffeine.
Dr. Says, I want to talk about these flare-ups and how they can affect a person's self-confidence. Ito yung importante dito eh. How often can this happen? And could you tell us more about this?
Rosacea can be pretty distressing for a lot of people because especially when the redness of the skin and bump-like lesions are very visible and very persistent. This can be a source of embarrassment to the patient because it's really on the center of our face. So when people would talk to you, they would see it immediately and ask questions. Therefore, it is really necessary that at its early stage, it can be addressed properly so that it would not go to the severe stages and would receive treatment and control.
Because many people aren't aware that they have this condition, it's often confused with acne. Dr. Pichi, how can one tell them apart? Kapag merong namumula sa mukha, may konting bumps, pus-filled, how can one determine if this is rosacea or acne?
Sometimes it can be very difficult because they overlap. But probably the most common would be acne, would usually have white heads and blackheads. And if there's redness, it's just concentrated around the area where you have your specific acne. Also, with acne, you can have nodules, and you can also have acne associated on the chest and the back. Now, if it's rosacea, number one, sometimes it's not anymore responding. If you think it's acne, it will not really respond to the acne treatment. And in rosacea, there will be no blackheads and there will be no whiteheads. It's usually just diffuse redness, and the redness is not only on the acne lesions, but diffuse, usually in the central part of the face, and then you would see some veins.
Pero Dr. Says, ang tanong is it possible para sa mga merong acne naman sa mukha, pwede ba silang mag-develop into rosacea, yung mga madalas magkaroon ng acne?
For those people with acne, it's still possible if you have the genetic tendency to developing redness on your skin, meaning if you are a natural born blusher and blusher. Most of the time, the natural progression would be patients with rosacea may develop acne-like lesions. That is the more natural progression. But for patients with acne, only those with a genetic tendency to redness of the skin would develop rosacea as well.
When we return, we'll go through the various types of rosacea. So stay with us on MedTalk Health Talk, only on CNN Philippines.
Protektahi ang imong mga mata batok sa delikado ug makadaot nga ultraviolet nga silaw sa adlaw ug uban pa. Pinaagi sa pagsulob og eksakto nga prescription sa antiyohos o antipara. Likay ang mga simptomas sama sa hanap nga pananaw sa layo o duol nga basahon, sakit sa ulo ug uban pa nga makaapekto sa atong kahimsog nga ang hinungdan depekto sa atong mga mata. Alang sa kumpleto nga primary eye care, contact lenses, fashion eyewear, computer eyeglasses, sunglasses, accessories ug uban pa, adto kita sa AG Buñuel Optical Clinic. Ang AG Buñuel Optical Clinic nagpahinumdum kanato nga ang kahimsog sa atong mga mata usa ka prioridad nga angay ipa-check up kausa matag tuig aron pagsiguro nga luwas kita sa piligrong mga sakit. Pinaagi sa lisensyado og qualified optometrists nga maoy mo prescribe sa eksaktong kagamitan og kung primary eye care ang paghisgutan. Duaw lang silang buhatan sa 3636 sa Nicolas Street, Surigao City ug adunay ilang extension office sa Aurelianida Street, Cantilan, Surigao del Sur. Ayaw kalimti higala, AG Buñuel Optical Clinic.
Ang AG Buñuel Optical Clinic doon na branch dito sa lungsod sa Dapa sa may Lupis Haina Street, Poblasyon Dapa, Surigao del Norte.
Ang AG Buñuel Optical Clinic dinhi sa syudad ng Surigao no transfer na sa bag-ong location sa Nicolas Street Ragyahapon, tapad sa Garcia Hotel at bang sa Unicity. Ang Riverside Parts Master Incorporated na sa ilang bagong location sa Dalan, Burgos ning atong syudad. Mahimo niyong tawagan sa telephone number 231-7478 or 826-3663. Mga produkto nga inyong mapalit, genuine, Makita Power Tools sama sa planer, drill, grinder, Triton paints, construction supplies, angle bars, flat bars, GI pipes, automotive spare parts, Firefly electrical devices sama sa switches, bulbs ug outlets. Adto ang Riverside Parts Master Incorporated sa ilang bagong pwesto sa Dalan, Burgos ning syudad. Makahangyo ka o makabarato pagyod diha sa Riverside Parts Master Incorporated.
RPN Radio Philippines Network, Radyo Ronda DXKS Surigao, member kapisanan ng mga broadcaster ng Pilipinas.
I'm Dr. Freddy Gomez, and this is Med Talk Health Talk on CNN Philippines.
I'm Dr. Freddy Gomez, and this is Med Talk Health Talk on CNN
Chronic blushing is what most people characterize rosacea by, but its symptoms are so much more complex than that. There are 4 main different subtypes of the condition, and it's even possible to have more than one subtype at a time. Dr. Peachy, tell us more about the most common one, which is known as ETR. So what are its usual warning signs pagdating sa ETR?
ETR, usually they would have frequent episodes of flashing or maybe even permanent flashing. And there would be a persistence of redness in the central area of the face, usually inner cheeks, here and here.
So
there would be visible
usual warning signs?
Veins would usually be seen, and then there would be swelling, there would be burning and stinging sensation, and the patient just is always be a persistence.
Doctor says, let's go through some of the symptoms ng acne rosacea. What can our viewers learn about this subtype?
Acne rosacea is rosacea wherein after the redness, the patient would develop small bumps on the skin. Some would be pus-filled, similar to regular acne. Patient would severe types. There could also be nodules of acne, but that's why when you say acne rosacea, this would refer to patients with starting off with redness of the skin, developing acne-like lesions. Medically, we also call them as papulopustular rosacea, and that's the second stage of rosacea.
Okay. Now, Dr. says, when it comes to rosacea, one of the symptoms that was earlier mentioned is that burning sensation that someone may have. Where does this come from, and is this a characteristic symptom for rosacea?
The burning sensation of rosacea would usually come from irritation to environmental factors. The redness of the skin actually naturally makes the patients sensitive to this environmental triggers. Example would be direct exposure to sunlight, as well as the use of cosmetic products or skincare products that ordinarily would be okay with the general population. But for patients with rosacea, since they have more sensitivity as compared to normal individuals, then they could have irritation to this product.
Dr. Peachy, let's talk about rhinophyma. How does this develop? How often does this occur? And what should our viewers know about it?
Sometimes you see people walking around with a very deformed nose, and that's rhinophyma. It usually occurs. It always occurs in patients who have had a long history of untreated rosacea. Usually, they don't really know the exact cause of rhinophyma, but it's always related to chronic untreated rosacea. Usually they're seen in males.
Now the last type of rosacea is the ocular type of rosacea, and it's similar to the different types, and then it causes redness, but instead this subtype impacts the eyes. Dr. Says, could you quickly explain this subtype, some of its signs and its symptoms for our viewers to be aware about?
Ocular rosacea would of course occur on the eyes, wherein the eyes also become highly irritated. The eyes and the eyelids could be swollen and loose and edematous. And this is actually something that is similar to skin rosacea, which means that if you do not treat it or you do not address it, then it can also lead to what we call as rosacea keratitis, wherein the cornea of the eye can be damaged and can lead to loss of clear vision.
Dr. Peachy, when it comes to newborns having really red cheeks, should parents watch out? Could this be possibly rosacea, or could this be something even more benign?
In newborn babies, no, I don't think it's going to be rosacea. Usually this would be from hormones of the mother, or probably some trauma or irritation as the baby comes out. Usually you can even see acne in newborn babies, and you will see some papules, and then the mother would panic and then would think that her baby would have acne. These are usually transient. So the redness in newborns, I would say, would be transient. I would probably say that it's due to the hormones that the baby has been ingesting inside the hormones of the mother. So they will come out. Just don't panic. Give it a few days. That would usually subside, and just make sure that they bathe the baby well and properly with very mild facial cleansers.
Good advice. So for those new parents out there, you can always have the conversation with your dermatologist if you are still unsure. But ultimately, every case of rosacea is ultimately unique, and your dermatologist is your best guide for the type that you might have. In the long run, though, the condition can affect more than the skin as well as the eyes. It can even reduce a person's quality of life. So how can we diagnose and treat it effectively? More on that after a short break. Your health is our mission here on Med Talk Health Talk. You're watching CNN Philippines.
Maayong balita sa tanan sa atong panginahanglan sa panimalay, mga gamit, ingon man mga dekorasyon, pwede na natong mapalit diha sa Wellington Bazaar. Anausab sa Wellington Bazaar ang mga bestidahon, karsunison, plain t-shirt, plastic chair, floor mat, mantel, banig, folding bed, habol, mosketero, trapal, lideret, basketball, stuffed toys ug mga dulaan sa bata. Ang Wellington Bazaar ana magalagad kanato sa Dalan Kaimo ning Dakbayan sa Surigao. Wellington Bazaar, gikan sa mga kawani og tigdumala sa Wellington Bazaar. Mayong adlaw alang kaninyo. Wellington Bazaar, sukion ta sa kanunay.
Kasakit kit sa ako ang mga mata. Uy, labad pagyud kay ako ang ulo. Murag kog malipong ba? Unya, murag limtanon pagyud ko. Unsaon man ni uy?
Naa na gyud kay problema, miss. Ha? Tanawa gud nagsakay ka sa tricycle, wala kay suot bra. Para masolba na imo problema. Pag inom man ni Lutein Plus.
Unsa? Lutein Plus? Asa man nimo gikan?
Ako man ninadunggan sa radyo, miss. Mao ang kapalit ko naan pangpangandam ba.
Sige, salamat kaayo ha. Magpalit dayon ko og Lutein Plus.
RPN
RPN Radio Philippines Network, Radyo Ronda DXKS Surigao, member kapisanan ng mga broadcaster ng Pilipinas.
I'm Dr. Freddy Gomez, and welcome back to Med Talk Health Talk on CNN Philippines, your partner in healthcare. Dr. Sess, could you walk us through how this condition is diagnosed? What happens when a patient first consults for possible rosacea?
When a patient consults with first time with rosacea, of course we do a detailed history and a physical examination. The diagnosis of rosacea is primarily clinical. No? There is no diagnostic test unless the picture is not very clear to us. No? That's the only time we request for additional procedures.
Dr. Pichi, what are some of the medications usually prescribed? Are topicals mainly used, oral medications, a combination of both?
For the bumps that you're saying, there's quite a limitation of treatment because a lot of the medications are not available in our country. But I would say for the papules and the pustules, the one that they see the bumps, you can have a systemic treatment. And the one that's really approved by the FDA is very low dose tetracycline of about 40 milligrams twice a day for about 1 to 2 months. If it's not available, we actually don't have that kind of treatment. You can go for maybe 50 twice a day for tetracycline. You can also have minocycline or even azithromycin. Then for the topical, what is easily available would be permethrin 5% cream and even metronidazole cream.
But Dr. Pichi, what about laser treatments? This is one of the talked about treatments for rosacea. For those who aren't familiar with laser treatment, please explain to our viewers, masakit ba ito? Matagal ba ito? What is the downtime when it comes to treating rosacea with lasers?
There are just specific lasers which you can use for rosacea because the target of the laser would be the redness. So it would be the pulse dye laser, the V-beam, it can be the 585, you can also use IPL, and there's no downtime for this kind of lasers. It's just like flashing, and you can just go home. It's very short, the treatment is very short, so we usually have it around every 2 weeks or even every 4 weeks. And lately, they've also been using radio frequency and also light emitting diodes. And all of this have no downtime. And so the patient will not feel any irritation.
Dr. Sess, is the wearing of mask with those who are affected with rosacea, can this aggravate the condition?
Rosacea can be irritated by frequent and prolonged wearing of masks, because it can produce breakouts, which is similar to acne rosacea. Now, the tips that we can give in order to prevent them, if for, of course, the ordinary individual who are using reusable masks, you have to wash them very frequently with hypoallergenic detergents in order to remove the toxic residues on the mask. Other thing also that you can do is every time you remove your mask, you have to also wash your face. And right after washing, then moisturization. Regular moisturizers would help.
Dr. Sess, could you talk more about soapless washes or those types of ways that our viewers can clean their face, especially if they have conditions such as rosacea?
Patients with rosacea have sensitive skin. So there are many different types of cleansers in the market. We have true soaps, we have comforts, we have the synthets, that's what we call as the non-soap cleansers. And for patients with sensitive skin, the synthets usually approximate the pH of our skin, which is acidic. So they can effectively remove the surface dirt without stripping our skin of its natural moisture.
Now, Dr. Pichi, does rosacea progress and get worse over time? Is this something that if any of our viewers notices on their face, they should get a consult right away?
It can get worse, okay? Because the flare-ups are the ones that would really make it very difficult for the ones affected with rosacea to really go on with their job because of the burning, the stinging, the aesthetic conditions. Sometimes they can't even go to work and face patients because they're very red and it's very uncomfortable.
Now, Dr. Pichi, could you share a basic skin routine for our viewers, for those even without rosacea, how to take care of their skin, especially in their face?
So make sure the minimum number of times wherein you should wash your face would be twice a day. And then if you feel dry, it would be good to use a very good moisturizer in the morning. And always sunscreen. Even if we're just at home, we're always facing our laptops and whatever devices. And there is what they call like the blue light. And so you also, even if you're at home, you have to put the sunscreen to protect yourself from the photo damage that can be caused by the blue light. And at night, of course, clean your face, remove your makeup well, and then use a moisturizer.
I'd like to thank dermatologist Dr. Pichi Pazulao and Dr. Ces Rojas Rosete for guiding us with their expertise on today's topic. Maraming pong salamat sa inyo. I'm Dr. Freddy Gomez, and thank you for watching MedTalk Health Talk on CNN Philippines. We'll see you soon.
RPN Radio Philippines Network. Radyo Ronda DXKS